learn how to use the Ecology Sandbox. So I'm in Tyto Academy up here, which is where you will be able to talk to the characters that get you into the sandboxes. And Dr. Sandrine here is who I talk to get in. So I've already created a biodome here called Awesome Dome, and I'm going to go ahead and enter that biodome. Now this is the first biodome I've done on this character, so there's actually already a tutorial here ready to go to give me the basics of what to do. So I can open that up, and it's telling me a bit about how I need to have a balanced ecosystem, and I should start by placing a producer. So I'm going to head over, and it's suggesting that I purchase a joint for using some impact points. So the impact points are a measure of essentially energy that you can put into the ecosystem by adding things, and it will refresh, but it's basically a limiting mechanism, so your students can't just spam and place tons and tons of plants and sustain an unreasonable amount of herbivores or something like that. So it kind of gets them to be a little more thoughtful about what they're doing. So next, the tutorial is saying that primary consumers are herbivores that eat plants, so I'm going to need to build up a bit of that before I add any carnivores, and so I should add a consumer now by clicking on the menu. And then I should purchase and place one Pika territory and make sure the joint fur is inside its boundaries. So you can see its boundaries on here. So I just want to make sure it'll be near that, and then I'll confirm it. And then I can click on the territory to see its information, and then I can see status about it. So as you see, it actually doesn't have enough food. There's only 41% chance it's going to find food. So unless I put down food, some of these are going to start starving to death. And you can see the cute little Pikas there going over and eating the food, which is great. So, in any ecosystem, plants and animals will create detritus, so I also need to put down a decomposer, so it's just leading me through the basics of placing down the pieces I need to have an ecosystem, and letting me know I can track data up there. I can fast forward or pause with these two tools right here. There's also a data tool. In the beginning, your students are probably just going to click on individual things like I just did, but as they get more in their ecosystem, they're going to need to start using this to learn more about it and see the health of each role, and they can also filter by different zones over here. And of course, there's a challenge table that I will show you later. So if I click on any of these, I can see some information. So my producers are healthy, and they have some leaf points, but no fruit or flowers yet, and they're all in stasis. Later on, it'll show me which ones are pollinated, unpollinated, and things like that. But I can see that my consumers don't quite have enough food available, which is concerning, and I actually already have a notification saying an herbivore is at risk of dying. So I should probably stop talking and go ahead and place down some more food for these poor little herbivores. So let's go ahead and do that. Now there's a bit of joint fur. All of these as well, if I click on them, I can see they all have information. So in this case, it's in stasis, but it will move into blooming as well later on in 36 weeks, and that's when it'll need to be pollinated. By the time it reaches the end of blooming, if it has been pollinated, the joint fur will reproduce as well. There's a leaf count and a health, and so if it gets overeaten, its health will go down as well. So it looks like our little herbivores here, our pikas, are asleep and pretty adorable, having a great time. So when they wake up, I'm sure they'll start eating some more and casting their destruction everywhere. So it says there's not enough food available yet. I'm guessing, there we go, it just updated. So since it's the new day here, it recalculated that, and they now have a 100% chance of finding food, and they are good to go. So that means I can check my data tool as well if I want to see a little bit more. So if I click on my consumers, it says there's actually 2 times more available for them than they necessarily need, which means I'm probably safe to go ahead and start putting down some more herbivores. So I'm going to take that opportunity. You know what? I unlocked a lot of insectivores. That was silly. Well, red fox are omnivores. They're going to start eating my pika, but that's okay. They'll also eat plants. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put down some insects as well so that I can start putting down insectivores soon. Some pollinators will be good. Of course, the only problem being that these need food as well. So the stag beetle is a decomposer, and there's not enough detritus left, so it's probably going to die. That was a little premature. So that is really the difficulty of the game here. The moths also have nothing available because nothing is blooming yet. So this is really what it comes down to, is the core difficulty of managing an ecosystem and managing it on kind of a smaller scale, is making sure that everything and all the pieces are fitting in well. And so your students will need to be really thoughtful thoughtful about this. And of course, you as a teacher will need to guide them through that process to understand how to build up an ecosystem from the basics until you have a large, thriving ecosystem. If you look out here, you see these kind of cutoff areas too. This area is pretty big that they start with, but as they level up more in ecology, they'll actually unlock all of the rest of these, and it is a massive biodome here that they will have plenty that they can do in that biodome and fill it up with many, many species as they keep unlocking them. So that is the basics. There's also, as I mentioned, a challenge table over here. So your students can actually accept some weekly challenges that will get them extra experience points, in-game credits, and research points as well. So some of these are kind of random, like have 14 prairie dogs die in a biodome this week, or have a joint for a baby. Oh, that's great. That's actually what we're on track to do anyway. So once your students do these rewards as well, they will actually start unlocking a bunch of cool special rewards. So for every 3 challenges they do, they will be able to unlock one of these rewards that you can kind of guess what they are from the silhouettes right here, and kind of add to their collection of clothing and furniture too. So it has some nice things for them to earn. So that is pretty much the basics of this. Obviously it gets a lot harder as you keep going. Already my ecosystem is down to 77% health. So yes, we wish you the best. It's a great opportunity to really have your students have a lot of discussion and figure out concepts of ecology as they play.